When you start thinking about Richie, what's the first thing that comes to your mind as a mother?
That he's so competitive. He's always been competitive, and sometimes I felt like, maybe I should pull it back a little bit. Like, okay, Richie, not everybody, is as competitive as you. Give everyone a chance to win, but he was always very competitive. In a good way, though, but yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind. In school, sports.
What was he like as a student?
He was a very good student. I'm amazed sometimes because, especially in high school, he would have an hour and a half drive to practice during the week and back. And he had like a little lap desk that he would use in the car to do homework in. And he would have the light on in the back of the car. And he was always on top of his homework in high school. He graduated with honors, and yeah, he was always a good student.
Do you like school?
I do, yeah. I'd say I do. It interests me with, I think everyone has things that they're interested in, and with regards to school, I always loved math. It kind of came easy to me, so I decided to follow that in college, and I studied civil engineering. But yeah, in high school, with all the classes, I found it interesting. So I think when you like what you do, it's not really like, oh, I got to go home and do homework, or I got a bunch of classwork that I need to finish. It's kind of fun. And you usually don't hear kids say that, but I didn't mind homework or classwork at all.
What's something or the biggest thing that you're most proud of for Richie as your son?
I think I'm the most proud of how he carries himself, that he has a few very close friends and he holds them close to him, and he's open to other people, but he carries himself, I believe he carries himself well. He doesn't brag about what he does. I think he has humility and a good heart, and his friends know that. He has friends from kindergarten that are still close to him. And it's just a handful of friends, and they're just all really close. And I think I'm the most proud of that. He doesn't take that for granted.
How would you describe her as a mother?
Amazing. I've always said this, every step of the way, she's always been there. It wasn't easy all the time. Those 2-hour drives, that was tough. I mean, she'd have to come in. Sometimes I'd get out of school early, like a period or two early, and we'd have to make that drive all the way up to Orlando, and just to make it on time. But I think that gets taken for granted because my mom's going out of her way, getting off work to come pick me up, and I'm 13, 14 years old. I guess it's not that serious, but I mean, today's baseball game is so competitive that sometimes you have to make those sacrifices if you want to make it to the next level, and it's tough because a lot of families don't have the opportunity to do that because they have the means. And I was just lucky and fortunate to grow up in a family where I was able to have that support.
Can you talk about your dad a little bit and how he played in Canada and here in the States?
Well, my dad had already stopped playing baseball several, 10 years or more by the time I was able to understand exactly what it meant. But I remember hearing names that didn't mean anything to me until I got older, and then, was able to see their importance in the Negro League, like Satchel Paige and Gibson and Jackie Robinson. And it was like my dad didn't talk about it a lot until a name came up, and then he'd go, oh, I remember him, or he would give an anecdote about playing. Once the color barrier was broken in the United States and Jackie Robinson went to the Brooklyn Dodgers, a lot of the players would go to Canada to play if they couldn't get on a team here in the U.S. So he played in Canada and actually played for a team called the Carmen Cardinals outside of Winnipeg, Manitoba, and that's where he met my mother. And they always felt that the the homes and the communities in Canada were very welcoming to the U.S. baseball players, and they really rallied around them, and the teams were integrated, and I think that it was a good experience. Well, you met my mom, so that's, yeah.
Do you think about how incredible it is your roots are not just to baseball, but to the history of baseball, stemming back to Negro Leagues, to Canada, to you? Do you think about that?
To be honest, I hadn't before the story kind of got brought up. So I always knew that my grandfather had played in the Negro Leagues, but I didn't realize that he was on the same team as Jackie Robinson. And I've always, growing up, and I'm sure my mom could say the same thing, that we see the day where they wear 42 over and over. So growing up, we've always seen this day, Jackie Robinson Day. So it's kind of cool to be a part of it and realize that my granddad had the same impact that Jackie Robinson did.